Good morning. We're going to look at how SonarWiz 6 is used to create a project in this video. It's a very brief video with two sections. We're first going to go through what are really mostly default settings to quickly set up a project, and in more detail to show you how to change and control all of the options to customize the use for yourself in various projects. On my desktop on PC, I have a SonarWiz 6 icon where I installed SonarWiz 6.01.0012, the current version here in June 2015. These update weekly approximately, so check the support website, www.chestech-support.com, in the version history area, and look under SonarWiz to see if you find any fixes or enhancements that you would like to get. You don't have to update weekly. Of course, almost nobody does that except us in-house. But if you do see a fix or an enhancement that you want, go ahead and upgrade. Upgrading is easy. You just download the new SonarWiz 6 right on top of the other one and run it. So I'm going to run it by clicking on the shortcut. We're using an evaluation code, but you might have your local license key yourself. And it opens up and it says Open Existing Project as an option. Typically, your very first run of the software, you'll see this. The desktop will show Create a new project or Open an existing project. A project is a collection of folders where you will import your sonar data and mosaic them and post-process them. The project is a set of folders that are set up with default names by SonarWiz to conveniently help us support you and for you to supply a structure for your work. One of the most important files that will be created automatically by the software is called MML, and this file contains a memory of many settings from your project, all the things that you've customized about it. And the first thing you'll do when you create a new project is to pick a project name. The name will be used for the folder and also for the MML file within that folder. So let's click on this and see what happens. You'll see that my project is by default going to the C drive in the SonarWiz projects folder. In many places on SonarWiz, you hover the mouse and the cursor over a field and it will give you a little drop-down explanation. I love that because you don't have to know very much about the GUI to start using it. It says the location on your hard drive where the project will go. If you prefer to put it somewhere else, you can click on this little ellipsis and browse to somewhere else. We're on the C drive here. I've got program files and sample data and SonarWiz projects. It helps to collect it into a simple structure area like this because for us, we want to oftentimes get a copy of your project. We want to set it up here, and it's easy if it's not nested into 12 folders deep into a path. But moving projects will be a topic of another video. So let's see, we're going to create a new project. We're going to create it in this folder, and I will pick a name here. We'll call it Demo 1. It's going to be an XTF project, and I'll pick a date. It's kind of arbitrary what you do here, but I want to mention that please don't use special characters from another language and culture set. It can mess up Windows using those letters when it tries to search for a file or a path, and also apostrophe. If you used a quote, a single quote in here in the file name, finding this file name of the folder when you're using SQL becomes problematic. So a very simple alphanumeric title will be great. I'm going to put this in here too. So I've called it a project name, and I'm going to say Demo 1_XTF 2015. So there we go. The first thing you fill out would be the name, and make sure that the project folder will look like it has the same name. The next is going to be approximate project position. The reason we do this is that we're showing on the map view in SonarWiz a very small area, usually within a number of kilometers of a certain point on the globe. So you tell SonarWiz where you're going to be looking. It will project maybe a base map to that same location and your data. And if you have multiple sets of data, usually you would set it up based on geographic diversity. So if you have a project in Malta and one in Italy, one in Sweden, these would be three separate projects. You don't really want to see them all on the same screen. You see a small set of data, mostly adjacent lines near each other. So pick a latitude and longitude in the general area of your project. If you have a project that you've started with sonar data collection, you can say get from file and choose from that data. We're not going to do that here. I will just pick a location that I happen to know, 37 north and 122 west. And as you pick the numbers and then click in the other box, SonarWiz will fill in the numbers. For latitude and longitude, north is a positive number and negative will be a south number. So if you wanted to go 37 degrees south, just put in minus 37 and SonarWiz will fill in S for south. And likewise, when you're east of Greenwich, if you put in a positive number, you'll get east, and if you put in minus number, it'll show west. So let me try that again. I'm going to put in 122 and show you that SonarWiz will fill it in that it's east. So be sure that you're in the right hemisphere and the right location when you fill in your data. So I'm going to put in minus 122 and let SonarWiz pick our location in the west. Okay, the options that we give you are to get from file will allow you to locate the project latitude and longitude if latitude and longitude were stored in your sonar data. This is a very convenient way to do it. Get from file, and then you browse to one of your XTF files and click on that line. SonarWiz will read the project position and put it in here. It's very accurate. If it happens to come up with a wrong answer, you've got to have some background information and really know where was my survey. Then don't take the wrong answer and override it with manual entry of latitude and longitude. If you don't really know where the survey was, you get the general idea in the world cities selection, you can do that. Like in our case, I think we have to go way down to S for San Francisco. And let's see if I can get San Francisco and see what they come up with. So it's very, very close. And either way, you're going to get your project in the right location. So there are a couple of things you're putting together in your project. One is the location and the map view, where you're telling SonarWiz where we're going to show our data. The other is the data itself. When you import data in projects in SonarWiz, your data has to have certain characteristics. The coordinate source is the navigation information that's going to come out of your file. This is another area where you really need to know a little bit about your sonar data and pick a preference here. There are many file formats that can record 2 positions, sometimes more, into your file, and you might have a choice. SonarWiz will pick its own best choice as it thinks if you use the auto for the coordinate source. Fish is you telling SonarWiz that if there are multiple sources, I want to use what's listed as the fish position. If you did that, then your sonar data would be positioned, if it was true, right where the fish is, and you wouldn't have to add layback. If you know that your data was recorded perhaps with layback as a separate value, and your tow fish is on a cable out and extended away 50 or 100 meters away from the ship, and the navigation data had recorded ship position, then go ahead and click ship. But then you'll have to know that later on in post-processing you're going to want to add layback. When you record data, you know the boat is going left and right, up and down. GPS signals sometimes come and go. You might have tiny holidays for seconds at a time. If you're on a bike ride, you know, you see your Garmin clicks off and says lost satellite connection. Same thing happens on a boat. One of the things that SonarWiz allows you to do to compensate for that is to give you what we call the time constant for course smoothing. This is just a flat filter. It's like a boxcar filter that allows you to replace the navigation when you project it into the project with a value that is an average of anywhere from 3 to 1200 pings. Now when you pick this number, you're telling SonarWiz basically to smooth out the navigation glitches and the transitions left-right, make it a little bit different. So the way you project your data in the project is actually going to move. If your boat was going left and right all over the place, with huge swings, and you set the smoothing to 1200, you're going to get a fairly straight line going between your start point and your end point, and it may not really reflect where your boat and your fish was at the time in the survey. So you've got two things to balance here. Where do you want to show the data, and yet you don't want it to going completely jagged all over the place. We use 300 as a kind of an arbitrary default setting. Some ping counts in sonar data goes into the thousands, like 30,000 pings. So 300 is not that bad. If you're going along at 10 hertz, this is like 30 seconds. Your position isn't going to change a huge amount within 30 seconds. So 300 is our suggested default setting, but you pick what you'd like. Lower down, I've got a checkbox here that says automatically check coordinate system. And SonarWiz knows in UTM that 10 north is where the 37 latitude is. It's north. And 122 positions you within the UTM zone system. So if you were like over in Florida, you might be at 17 north. It's very convenient for setting up projects to allow SonarWiz to do this. This is the project coordinate system where you will present your data, and it's different than how the data were recorded sometimes, and you can choose that separately. Well, that's kind of the subject of a different video, but for this video, all you have to do to set up a project is allow SonarWiz automatically to select it, or click the automatically deselect that, click on browse, and you can find a different system. There are many state planes. There are just many coordinate systems. These are the groups, and after you select a group like Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, then you can select all kinds of choices for specific coordinate systems. Many places of the globe are mapped with dozens of coordinate systems. It seems like every bureaucratic office that has power to create a coordinate system has done so. So you've got all kinds of coordinate systems that cover the same spot on the globe. And you've got to decide, usually from your customer's point of view, what do they want it presented in? How do they want the project? One typical choice is feet versus meters. Like UTM North here, this is going to be in meters. And oftentimes you get clients saying we want it to be in feet. We're from one country where we typically use feet. We don't want to think about meters, so please present the entire project in feet. This is something you want to think about up front. What does your client want before you decide to select what the coordinate system is? So you can see there are a huge number of choices available, but basically we're just identifying a name of the project, location. I'm going to click it back to auto, default setting for smoothing, and I will say automatically pick the coordinate system and click OK. And away she goes. SonarWiz is now going to set up a project. At this point, you have created your project and you're ready to import data. Thanks for watching this introductory video.